Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about AI. When Divi 5 was released, I was very impressed, but at the same time, I was very worried about how we were going to be designing these websites because it came with a new interface that had so much to click on. There so many things that were embedded in all these menus, which made it very, very difficult to design something so basic. So, the only solution to that was to build a lot of presets because once you build something once, you can use it over and over again. But as you can imagine, you're going to need presets for pretty much every single module, and you're also going to need variations of those presets. And for every single project, this is a bit of a pain. Let's face it; it's a bit of a pain for every project. So as I started looking at other page builders, because I have a license for Bricks Builder, and I've also have a license for Elementor. It seems to be the same thing. The learning curve of all these page builders now have become very advanced. They're not a as user friendly as Divi 4 was, and I think this is why a lot of people adopted Divi 4 because although we used to design basic websites, it was very easy to just drag drop and put things in place and have a functioning website. But of course, with times, we want to build more advanced layouts. And these advanced layouts come at a price. And the price is the learning curve and the clicking. So if you try and count how many clicks it will take for you to design a basic blurb module to make it look nice, you would find that you'd probably go even 100 clicks. And if you try to adjust other areas of your website, you'll start to find or you start to realize that this is becoming more challenging and it's going to take a very long time. So perhaps the solution to that is how about we create all these starter sites? Well, starter sites work, but when you start doing the customizations, everyone designs their starter site the way they want, and they probably follow a totally different workflow. Right now, if you go into the Divi marketplace, or even if you use Divi's own starter sites, you'll find that because they were designed by different designers, each designer had their own workflow. Sometimes percentage is used for section padding. Sometimes VW is used for section padding. So the question now is, okay, so what do we use? So as you can see, there is no standard to design these websites. There's no real standard. And that in itself is a bit of a challenge. So just a few days ago, I saw a video on Nova Mirror and Claude designing websites, designing DV5 websites. So I thought to myself, you know what? Let me not ignore AI and see what it has in stock. So I purchased my license, my Nova Mirror license. I purchased the basic one, the one that has the three licenses, because I only wanted to test it on a few websites. And after everything was connected, to my surprise, I could just put in a prompt of the type of website that I need, and it designed it for me. At that moment, a light bulb lit in my head. So I thought to myself, if we can start designing websites by telling the prompt what type of website we need, well, that's even easier, right? Well, yes, I was super excited. I was really happy because as a freelancer or as a design agency, now you can just go to the prompt and say, you know what, design me a website, a coffee shop website. It needs to have 5 pages, and I also need the ability to take bookings, and it will design it for you. Initially it's going to be very basic, and because now you have all these generic websites that look like AI has designed them. But you know what, it is a massive starting point, because all you need to do from that point onwards is to go in and start making adjustments. But even that is a problem, because it's almost like taking a starter site and then you want to go in and add all your clamps and start adding all these the right tokens for it. Because when AI does it, it doesn't know. It just makes a pretty thing, and in most cases, it does it in HTML and CSS, and then just puts the HTML and CSS in the actual builder. But as you can imagine, to try and redo that or undo it to make it standard, to make it maintainable, to make it easier to design, it's almost like redoing the whole thing again. And that as well, it's almost like we've taken 10 steps forward and now we're taking 20 steps back. But you know what really excited me? I saw Nick's video about Divi AI, where you can prompt it, you can tell it to use your presets, you can tell it to use variables. That to me really caught my eye, and I thought to myself, yes, finally, finally, we have something here. But you know what the challenge is with that? When we prompt, a lot of these AI videos that I watch, they seem like everything is happening in an instant. Oh my goodness! Sometimes it can take 20 minutes just to process a prompt, a single prompt, and then after that, you need to go back and tell it, hey, you know what? Can you fix this? Another 10 minutes, and then you go back and say, can you fix this? Another 5 minutes. So the process is long, but although it may seem long, it's still better than hard coding it. It's still better than hard coding it. I'd rather do that, have a cup of coffee, make a cup of coffee, come back and see, the progress. And the thing with AI is it's improving. So as I was digging deep into this AI thing, I realized that because I have a product called Crafter Pro. It's a design system and it does way more than just a design system, right? But the part I want to talk about right now is the design system part. So this is pretty much the ingredients that make up how the website should be structured. So that's the design system. All made in Divi. It's all the presets done professionally, and it's also the presets, the variables, all of it is done. So I thought, if I tell the AI to use my design system, will it allow it to do that? And to my surprise, it did. Although in a few more, in other instances, it got it wrong because it didn't use my actual preset because, yeah, it needs a bit of tweaking perhaps because it's not sure whether it should use a specific value from the variables or the preset itself. But I guess those are the sort of things that you can improve by giving it a skill or giving it a design.md file. I'm still to experiment with that. So where I'm at now is a very interesting position, and my position that I hold now is we are now going to be designing websites with AI. This is the way forward, and I guess this is the only way because I've thought about it for a while and I've asked myself, will there be a chance where we can go back and still hard code these websites? No, I don't think hard coding the websites is going to be a thing because it's just going to take too long. The interfaces now of these page builders are way more complex and they have a very steep learning curve. And even right now, as I'm doing my consultancy work, a lot of people are still, you know, gearing towards the Divi 4 workflow, which doesn't work. So how to do things in Divi 5 can be, a bit of a challenge right now. So I see a future now where, and it's inevitable, I see a future now where you you go into your MCP, you give the AI a prompt, a full prompt of the type of website you need with references and inspiration and colors and everything, and then just tell it to use your design system, and boom, your website is going to be done. And I think that's the workflow that makes a lot of sense. Anything else besides that? Nah. Of course, we're going to be spending a lot of money on the tokens for the AIs, and the AIs are going to be making a lot of money. You can imagine the amount of people who are using Elementor, or the almost a million people using Divi. If they're all going to be signed up to Claude or what's it called, ChatGPT, and so on, that's gonna be huge, right? But of course, it cuts out a lot of the designers' work. Now, does that mean that agencies are going to struggle? Not necessarily. You know why? Because these companies need someone who comes with a solution. Having a pretty website which does not bring money into the businesses that you're designing websites for, is not a solution. So we are still going to need agencies who are going to put in the systems that make the websites work. And I think this is going to be the skill that is going to pay the bills, because designing a website, I mean, pretty much anyone is going to be able to do that. And the reason why WordPress is still going to be there is because WordPress allows us to build functional websites. You'll find that with a Wix website or just a normal ChatGPT website, it won't have all the functionality built in, like, for example, lead generation or a database. After you sell your products, you have all your database, your customers, your emails, and and all that good stuff. So there is going to be a place for agencies and freelancers for sure, 100%. It's just that we just have to adopt with the AI. So the good news is I am going to have a course which I'm going to announce in the next day or two. Now, this course is purely AI and Divi 5. But this course is going to be a bit different. It's not going to be a course where I just record a bunch of videos and then, you're off and then, pretty much you are on your own. No, this course is going to be different because we are going to be learning together live. There will be a few lessons, a bit of homework here and there. We're going to have a library of prompts and pretty much all the setups we need for the websites. For the websites that we'll be building with the AI. So it's a different structure of a course, and this is going to be announced in the next few days. Now, I would like to hear your opinion on the state of web design, Divi, AI, and perhaps we can discuss in the comments box. So let me know what you think. It'll be very exciting to know how your workflow is going to change, or if it is already changed. So anyway, leave your comments in the comments box below. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one. Take care.